Shalom, Apostle, coming back at you with this truth, giving all praises to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shabbat Hashem, Kakodash. And I'm going to entitle This Man Sometimes Tells the Truth and Doesn't Realize It. Anyway, over the weekend, we had the camp, and Apostle Ramla had mentioned that he read through the Bible commentary, because I keep saying go to the Bible commentary just to see what Esau says. And he had mentioned he went to the Bible commentary and he looked up Daniel. He put in Daniel 7:9, and I believe he put in Revelation 1. I don't know if it's 13, 14, 15, or one of the verses where it speaks about the Lord having woolly hair. And he said that these commentators, they didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want to touch it. They kind of danced around it, showing you that when they go through these scriptures, they can see that the Israelites are so-called people of color, so-called black people, so you can understand. Now, sometimes they'll tell the truth and don't realize that they're telling the truth. Like what I did was, and I'll do this with a couple of precepts. This is not going to be long. I went to Numbers 12 and 10. It says, "And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous." So this is the answer that they gave, which surprisingly they told the truth. Cambridge Bible for Schools and Colleges, the cloud removed. It says Jehovah, which they should know better. They should know that that's not the name of the Most High. Showed his anger by departing from Aaron and Miriam in the cloud, not previously to its removal. Leprous as snow. I'm not going to read these precepts. I'll kind of come back to them. It says there were different kinds of leprosy, which they're right. You had leprosy of the scalp. You had leprosy of an house. You had leprosy. You had leprosy of the skin, and you could have been a clean leper and an unclean leper. That's why you were sent out for 7 days, and if you came back, if you were unclean, then you stayed out. But if you were considered a clean leper, you didn't contaminate anybody. So it says there were different kinds of leprosy. The white leprosy. Now they quote Leviticus 13:13. Then the priest shall consider, and behold, if the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean that has the plague. It is all turned white. He is clean. Now, this is why we say we walk among Edomites, right? Which are clean leopards. That's all they are. The Most High gave them the mark that goes back to Cain. He put a mark upon Cain, and that was leprosy, but he made him a clean leper, meaning Esau had to be in contact with us and the other nations, because the Most High was going to set him up to rule the world for a segment of time, which he's in rulership right now. But all along, that was Cain's curse. Okay, because when you go to Genesis, now I'm going to have to go to it. Let me go to Genesis 4. And we know the story. I'm going to go right to the point. Okay, 9th verse. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And that's Esau's attitude towards us. You know, when the cop shoot Jake, you know, in the back or blow him away, and it's caught on camera, and it's obvious that the cop wasn't justified in doing that. Well, that's that hate that goes back to Cain when he said, I know not, am I not, am I my brother's keeper? Like, man, I got to watch over him. And that's that same attitude that Esau has today. He goes on to say in the 10th verse, then he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. Now, what does that mean? The voice of thy brother's blood. Because Cain shed the blood of his brother Abel, the spirit left the body and went before the father. And the first thing that happened, he complained to the father. He said, look, this is what my brother did. You just see what my brother just did? He just killed me. Are you gonna deal with him for that? That's also found in Revelation chapter 6. The saints that were in the work that died, the first thing that they did, they complained to the Most High about us being in this condition. It says 11 verse, and now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tilleth the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shall thou be in the earth. Let me look up the word fugitive. Fugitive. Know why? It says totter, to go tottering, be unstable, vagabond, to cause to wonder, to cause to wonder. Let me come back over here. Let me go to vagabond. So the fugitive and a vagabond. Nawad. To move to and fro, wonder, to wave, shake, to cause to wonder. There was a land called the land of Nawad. So what it means, you know, loosely translated, means he wandered. He went to other places. And remember, he was a fugitive from justice. '12 verse again. And when thou tilleth the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. And Cain said unto Yahweh, my punishment is greater than I could bear. Behold, behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. 15th verse. And Yahweh said unto him, therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And Yahweh set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. So now, if you kill like let's say a Jake kills a cop, and they look at the video, and it looks like, maybe the cop tried to kill him, and he kind of got the gun out of his hand. He said, "I'm gonna kill you, nigga," and the Jake points the gun at the cop and kills him. They're gonna do everything. They're gonna be a mega manhunt to catch this Jake, and they're gonna throw the book at him. They're gonna throw the house at him. They're not gonna hear about even if it's on video, that he defended himself. He didn't resist, but the cop said, "Nigga, I'm gonna kill your black ass," or something to that effect. And he defends himself. He goes into defense mode. They're not gonna stop until they catch that dude. The same thing happened with Haiti. The reason why the Haitian people, Levi, is catching so much hell, because guess what? When you go into the history, they were the first to free themselves from the so-called white man, not the American white man, but the French white man, because they're all the same. They all connect to each other. You see how Esau in America connects to the people of Ukraine against Russia. They all connect to each other in the spirit. So in reading that, let me read the 14th verse again. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth. Now that place where they were was the garden eastward in Eden, which is Jerusalem today. That's why these people are in the land today, because they're trying to fulfill. They figure, well, if we can go back to the land, the Most High will recognize us as the true people of the Lord. Most High don't recognize them as being the true people of the Lord. And from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. That's happening now. People are looking to slay this man if they had the power, and now they possess the power. The great equalizer, the ICBM, the hypersonic missile system. These missiles are the great equalizer. That's why it says in Isaiah 14 and Joel 3, it pretty much says the same thing, almost word for word. Let the weak say I am strong. And what made the weak, the dark nation strong? The missile technology. So Esau has to be careful about what nation he deals with, because if it turns into a war, it can very well turn into a nuclear war. We're living in very dangerous times. Anyway, let me come back. So the mark, it doesn't tell you what the mark is, but we know that the mark is leprosy. Because when people see Esau in recent years, not really now, they'll say, well, don't rob him. He's a white man. If we rob him and do something to him, they'll have the whole army. They'll take the whole country over. That's their attitude. So that mark was leprosy. So now let me come back. So it says here, leprous as snow. There were different kinds of leprosy. The white leprosy, Leviticus 13:13. Then the priest shall consider, and behold, if the leprosy have covered, because you send them out for 7 days, if they come back and their whole body is equally, not spots, not an unclean form of leprosy, but they're fully leprous, like Michael Jackson, which I don't even believe that shit. But they would be considered clean lepers. They can still dwell among people and not contaminated. Let me read that again. Then the priest shall consider, and behold, if the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean that has the plague. It is all turned white. He is clean. So the Edomites that we deal with day to day, we shake their hands. You go to the doctor, Edomites check. You don't get contaminated from them because they're clean lepers. And the reason why, as I said earlier, the reason why the Most High did that is because Esau was going to take over the world, and he had to be among us. He had to shake our hands. He had to go to the other nations. He has to sit in offices and capitals around the world. So he wasn't unclean. And that also, that mark was to say, don't mess with him, because he'll come at you with his whole army. He'll kill your whole family just because of what you did. It says, 2 Kings 5, verse 27, the leprosy there of Nahum shall stick to you and to your seed forever. And he went out from the presence a leopard as white as snow. Exodus 4, verse 6. Let's see what that says. And the Lord Yahweh said furthermore to him, put now your hand into your bosom, which I was going to go to this anyway. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. Now, when you read the rest of that, it said that his hand came as his normal flesh. So if he turned white, what color was his normal flesh? Another shade of white? No. If you check out all the people on the planet Earth, you have two colors, different shades of brown to different shades of white. And Esau is really not red. Esau is pale, and his translucent skin, you can see the blood flow through his, show through his skin. Yeah, they go on and they say, and two forms of elephantitis. She didn't have no elephantitis. The former, which is the milder, which is the clean leper, milder kind, is here thought of. See, driver in white, Leviticus. I'm not going to see that. Aaron received no punishment, possibly because Miriam took the lead in the complaint against Moses. See Deuteronomy 24, verse 9. Remember what Yahweh, your power, did to Miriam, by the way, after that you were come forth out of Egypt. Now, I mentioned Miriam because she was the one with the big mouth. And the reason why she had a big mouth and was telling Moses and Aaron what to do, or Moses what to do, because Moses was a baby. Look, I'm your older sister. I'm older than the both of y'all. And you shouldn't be dealing with this woman. She's of another nation. Why did the Most High allow Moses to marry a woman of another nation? To get in close with her father, Jethro. Because Jethro was a leader of people. Moses was not a leader of people. He was not a leader of people. So the Most High had to set him up through the Spirit. What does it say in the New Testament? Make friends of the mammon of this world. It said, do not bring upon us the consequences of our sins. I don't think I have to read anymore, but let me just kind of browse, see what these other people have to say. Oh, that's all I'm going to read. But this is the first one of the first few times that they actually came out with the truth. They're actually saying that Miriam turned into a white woman, but they didn't say, but so we all know that she had to be a black woman. They're not going to tell you that. So now what I did right here was I said, let me go to Google and they put in Numbers 12, verse 10, and let's see what happens. Now, the first picture that popped in my mind was this one. You could see that she's all, oh my goodness, I turned white. Well, if she turned white, did that mean she was a different shade of white? No. You got to understand that Moses, Aaron, Miriam, the Israelites, they were super dark because they were pure. So here she had this dark skin, and all of a sudden the Most High cursed her, and this is what she came out looking like. Now here's another picture right here, and they showing them like they're white, like flesh tone, and now she looked like a ghost. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. And what's beautiful is they showed you. Now check this out. This is what she looked like, somewhat like Numbers 12, 10 to 12. This is what she looked like, and this is what she came out to be: leprosy. And they put her away for seven days. She came back, and she was pronounced clean, and her flesh came back. You know, there's a way to, like, if a Jake suffers from leprosy, this form of leprosy, there's herbs that you can use to bring it back. There's another okay, so you can see, and behold, Miriam became leprous white as snow. And you can see that it's a so-called black woman. And you can see how they turned her into an albino. And that's all a so-called white man is in a white woman, is nothing but an albino. You can have albinos and your whole family could be dark. And you can have a son or a daughter that comes out looking albino. That don't mean you kick them out the house. They're clean leopards. But you look at them strange because they have so-called Negro features. They ain't showing you too much else. So now I want to go to wool. I just want to check these out. This ain't really deep. This is just an observation. Let me see. Let me just put in wool. It'll pop. The scriptures will pop up. I should read this one. I got to come back to this. I'm not going to read it though. Okay, Daniel 7 verse 9. You already know what it says. What the hell's going on? Okay. So let's go to Cambridge. Let's go right to the, okay, let's go here. The ancient days, the tit meaning to indicate this exactly the same expression occurs in the Syriac version. Elders, God himself, okay? His raiment was white as snow, symbolizing purity. The white here would have the same symbolism, though this would be natural independently in an aged man. The image of Revelation 1:14 is derived from the present passage. It says, like pure wool. Now let's see what they say about this. The imagery of the vision in the book of Enoch is based largely upon that of the present passage of Daniel, with the word quoted. The Enoch, I'm not even going to try to decipher this. 10, what is that? 10L, whatever. My Roman numerals are, got to get back into it. Now you notice it says like pure wool. It didn't even mention anything about the wool. What did that represent? What did that represent? They get this wrong. His throne was like a fiery flame, and the wheels thereof burning fire in accordance with the usual representative of the Most High, is surrounded by or manifested in fire. Now they didn't get that right. So there's a lot of things they don't get right. Now I would figure they would have, come on, it says like pure wool. The imagery of the vision in the book of Enoch, it's taking you to the book of Enoch. It is based largely upon that of the present passage of Daniel. Well, won't you explain the woolly hair? Okay. All right, it says the ancient of days, then it says white as snow, indicating like the pure wool, the purity and just, oh my goodness. See, when Esau does that, when they tiptoe around the tulips, they really know that what they should have said was pure wool like lamb. It seems to me that the Most High, the Ancient of Days, would come down as a black man. That's what they should say. But they ain't going to say that, because then they would have to say, if the Most High was a so-called black man with woolly hair, then his son had to be a black man with woolly hair. His son was of the tribe of Judah, so all the tribe of Judah had to be, or originally had to be, black people with woolly hair. And if they were all black people with woolly hair, so-called blacks, then their brethren had to be, look similar to them. Bear me for a minute. And not one of these guys are going to admit that he was a black man, a so-called black man. Let me do this here. So many times wool pops up. Okay, this is pulpit commentary. I beheld till the thrones were cast down in the ancient days to sit, whose garment was white as snow, whose garment was white as snow. The color, signifying the color, and the hair of his head like pure wool. Not signifying the color of wool, but the texture. Wool has a texture. His throne was, let me see what they say about it. They go into the Septuagint, Messianic, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is the Ancient of Days. Now they're going to break it down. It is not the Ancient of Days, but one Ancient in Days. That is to say, the phrase is not appellative, but descriptive. After, well, then he would have to be a so-called black man. After the throne of these earlier kingdoms were cast down, then one appeared like an old man clad in a garment of snowy white, and the hair of his head as wool. That this is a symbolic appearance of God is beyond doubt. You see how they tiptoe around it? They said that the kingdom were cast down, then one appeared like an old man, meaning it was a man, clad in a garment of snowy whiteness, meaning the color of the garment, and the hair of his head as wool. Black man, a so-called black man. Let me do this here. And I did this before. Okay, the only images that come up as the Most High looking like a so-called Negro is somebody that's an Israelite. Would draw this artist that's it. Esau's not going to do this. Esau's not going to do this. This man is a great deceiver, man, the great devil. And you see, they drew a white man. Christianity is nothing but white supremacy. That's all it is. The biggest races on the planet are Christians, white Christians. And your magic ain't gonna work no more, Esau. Look at this. Draw a white man looking like a young Buddy Epson. And it kind of, it's kind of woolly white type, which is all BS. Here it is again. Obviously a so-called white man with white hair, and you can see the hair is straight. It might be a little coarse, but it's straight. This is what they should have saw. Let me see. Anytime you see a Christian, an Edomite Christian, call them out. Call them out. Tell them you're nothing but a goddamn racist. See how they kind of made sure a white man. He's a white guy. His hair is a little extra curly. Let me try this. Let me try this. Yeah. Ha. Wa. See, Esau doesn't like this. This is why they send guys like Vocab Malone. All these images of what the Most High and his beloved son would look like. I don't know who did this one, but they got he got a short mini skirt on. This ain't kosher. We're not saying that this is the Lord, but this this individual looks similar to what Daniel saw and what John saw. There's another one. We're not saying that this is the Most High. This is what he would somewhat look like. This is what Daniel saw. And another reason why I'm doing this is because, you know, Volk has been coming with his BS. See the devil right there, and then you see a depiction of what the Lord might look like. A church wall in Russia. So the people that dwelt in Russia were Jake people, Israelites, so you can understand. Look at this. They might take the video down just because I pulled this up. See the contrast? See, E knows who he is. That's why when you say too much about E, showing any pictures of him looking hairy, he'll take the video down. And you can't hide from this truth. Scripture says, my doctrine shall drop as rain. You can't get around it. These are actual pictures of Jake children in captivity. And Esau's got to pay for that. He that leadeth in captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. The children of Yahweh, learning the truth of our name and language. Oh, Israelites. Israelites in the Egyptian captivity. Did I spell that right? Egyptian captivity. These are Jakes. See the afro? Jakes. Were Hebrews ever slaves in ancient Egypt? Yes. You can see that these are Jakes with the beards. Another image. You can see that clearly see that they're Jakes. This is the Great Awakening. And this is why we out there on the highways and the byways. This is why we out there doing, the countless sit downs. Look at that. The Bible journey, the Israelites in Egypt. And you can clearly see that this is a so-called black man with like a small fro. Is it possible that during the ancient Israelites 400 years stay in Egypt, their blood largely remained not mingled with the ancient Egyptians? Yeah, because they stuck with each other. It says Phoenician bus from the Phoenician period in Spain. Now it doesn't tell you whether he was this is an Israelite or not, because we lived in the land of Phoenicians are Canaanites. The Greek way of saying Canaanites. So we became the Canaanites because we pushed the original Canaanites out. Passover in Egypt, did the Exodus really happen? You can see, I don't know if this is an Egyptian woman, but you can see that she's a black woman, and Moses passed for an Egyptian. Pharaoh's daughter. It says Yahweh's war against the Egyptian sun god Ra. You can see this, these are the Israelites. Bibles to support the evidence described in the Bible. Is there any evidence outside the Bible to support the events described in the Bible? Yeah, these war releases. And you can see that they're people of color. Some biblical reflections on refugees. And you can see that these are the Egyptians and these are the Israelites. I just showed you this one. You can see that the color, you can see that they're Jake. See the fro. We are those great people. That's why we excel in everything that we do. And the fact that you see us on the corners is a fulfillment of many precepts. My favorite is Ezekiel 37. That tells the whole story. The dry bones in the valley. These are just the bones coming back together. Evidence that proves black people are the biblical Israelites. Wow, look at that. Evidence that proves black people are the biblical Israelites. Israelites are so-called black people under another group of black people, another race, Hamites. We're Shemites, they're Hamites. And we look at this one. Evidence that proves black people are the biblical Israelites. And this is us in ancient pagan Egypt as slaves. You see what this is all about. Slavery in America. In 1619, the Dutch, which are Edomites, introduced the first captured Africans to America, painting the seeds of slavery system, planting the seeds of a slavery system that evolved into a nightmare of abuse and cruelty. So this right here is at an auction. You got the father over here, you got the mother over there. The slave wants the baby. So they split up families. You got a lot, you got a lot to pay for. You Edomites have a lot to pay for, man. And nobody's listening to this guy, Vocab Malone. See, all this is played out. Jake, don't follow this bullshit. Israelites, Wikiwan. You see the beards, the hair. You see that they're Jake. In in Egypt, these Amorites became known as Habiru. They wasn't Amorites, they were Israelites. These were Hebrews. We call these people small hats. A brief history of Passover, which honors resilience amid adversity. And these are not the people. These are not the people right here. These are the imposters. But you got to keep that lie going. That's why you have these, the ADL to come after you if you say anything negative about it, because you got to keep that lie going. It says when the kingdom is established, when the sons of Israel return back to Israel, it says nation shall learn war. No nation shall learn war no more. Let me do this here. And I did this before, recently. Black icons. Black, you can see the child, the hair. Is a good one. You can clearly see that the mother, Mary, the mother, and the child, the Messiah, the Christ, so you can understand. what just happened. I just lost that picture, but you can see that the son, the Lord, Afro, the mother, dark skin. So that lie is catching up with you, Esau. There's a precept. You know what? Let me do this. Let me do this. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, it says locks, right? Let me just go to the word locks. Look at my locks. I'll look up the word locks. Locks. Doesn't tell me that. It says veil. Bear me for a minute. Let me try it this way. Okay. Okay, it says here, Ezekiel 8, verse 3, and he put forth the form of an hand, this is an angel, and took me by a lock of mine head, and the spirit lifted me up between the earth and the heaven, and brought me in the visions of the Most High to Jerusalem, to the door of the inner gate. This is where these Israelites were secretly worshiping, other gods, weeping for Tammuz and so forth. So I want to look up the word lock. Okay, taza yataza, which means fringe, tassel, or lock. When we have the fringes, it's a material that's locked, like a braid. So the prophet Ezekiel must have had, he definitely had locks like Samson. Now, whether he was under the vow of the Nazarene or not. A forelock of hair, a tassel, fringe. When they make a fringe, when they make fringes, it's almost like taking hair, taking certain strands of hair and locking them up. And it can't be, Ezekiel could not be an Edomite because Esau ain't got no hair to lock up with. You ever see these Edomites? They braid their hair and it comes all apart. Our hair is made different than their hair. Anyway, like I said, I just wanted to say a few words. I went a little overboard, but as far as time is concerned, this wasn't nothing really special, but just something to think about. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.